The modern society is highly competitive, and while the same lives are repeated weekly and daily, or even annually, some people tend to progressively forget about themselves and their past. This may sound like something you haven't heard before, but in fact, this repetition of same lives unconsciously brainwash people's mind towards the notion of carpe diem. People are driven towards merely living their present to the fullest, thus having let go of their past memories. In some cases, people are so overwhelmed by the load of their current lives that not in any section of their brains they have room to go back to thinking about anything that had happened in their past. Hence, I once had the thought, am I really free from my past? The notion of freedom is interpreted very differently from one person to another, and the definitions I will select are from modern philosophers. For instance, famous philosophers like René Descartes or Immanuel Kant say that freedom occurs when one's action is freely desired by the person's free will and not generated by the pressure of any external forces. More simply, if I want to do something and the desire to do that something is purely generated by my free will, I am free. So if I eat an apple simply because I want to, I'm free. On the other hand, Thomas Hobbes, another famous modern thinker, thinks about the concept of causal determinism, a principle of thinking which suggests that everything is determined by the corresponding past events. So if I eat an apple because from past experience I know that it's delicious, I am not free since the decision was influenced by the past. What about actually being free from the past? If I interpret this definition and apply it to the relationship that I may have with my past, I can conclude that as long as my past or my memories of my past do not influence my decision in taking any action, I am then free from my past. Differently said, I'm free from my past if my will is free, and thus the concept of causal determinism would not be applicable under that specific circumstance. On another example, someone who suffers from traumatic experiences is not free from his or her past, but nonetheless, after a traumatic experience, certain important events could stay in the memory forever, according to the government of Canada. But am I really free from my past? No, I'm not free from my past. Rather, I'm an imprisoner in my past, and here is why. In the first place, my identity is greatly influenced and shaped by my past. I'm a South Korean, and I spent about 10 years of my youth in Korea, and this June will mark the beginning of my 12th year in Canada. And yet, my life is still full of Korea. First of all, Korean is still my best language, and I speak it daily to interact with my family. When I think about something, I do so in Korean, and most importantly, I curse in Korean. Like when a friend surprises me from the back, or obviously I don't have eyes on my back, right? On the other hand, I still only listen to Korean music. In link to the concept of causal determinism, well, my present is causally determined by my past. My identity is actually a stone that is shaped from the wind of my past, and my present life is still very Korean due to my past. On another note, you know those moments when you suddenly feel like your memories just take over your mind and you feel like you're immersed into your memory? You know those moments when you space out? Well, in those moments, I very often think about my past. As an example, when I'm trying to concentrate in my perspectives class, I would just suddenly start thinking about where I used to be as a kid or what I used to want to become as a kid. Ultimately, I must admit that I still base myself on my past experience when I need to take a decision about something. For example, when I plan a trip, I would tend to desire to revisit a venue I had visited in my past as a kid, or simply, when I order something in a restaurant, for example, I'll think about what menu used to be delicious when I visited this restaurant in the past, and which other menus were just bad. These are examples of how my past could influence my present, and this therefore leads me to say that I am not free from my past. So yeah, I guess I agree with the definition of causal determinism, but described by Thomas Hobbes, I guess. So yeah, that's about it. But nonetheless, not being free from my past doesn't necessarily mean that I am not happy about it, right? I am actually very happy that my past has shaped my identity and my present, and I am very happy to be Korean. So, who knows?